Dr. Crystal has been a chiropractor for 11 years now. Worked as an associate in another practice for the first year after she graduated in 2004, and has been the owner and head clinician at Lafayette Square Chiropractic Centre since 2005. So we'll be celebrating 10 years in practice, which has also gone by very quickly, this December. She taught at Logan. She's a graduate of Logan College of Chiropractic here locally. She taught at Logan for 7 years until the practice simply got too busy for her to continue that even part-time, and then she's been full-time in the practice since then. Her own personal chiropractic story, she was in a pretty severe auto accident at the age of 21. She was a star athlete, played soccer at Bethany College and was their star goalie, and was in an auto accident shortly after graduating from college that basically took her from being the most active person I had ever met to bedridden for several years. Virtually bedridden. I mean, it was hard to even get out to the mailbox to get mail. And so ended up having to have surgery, but even after surgery had horrific back pain and leg pain that they simply said, you know, you're going to be on painkillers and have to live with this for the rest of your life. And she said, my liver will be shot, and there's got to be other options. So that's, she had already decided to go to chiropractic school prior to all of this. And when starting chiropractic school, a very kind and amazing doctor named Dr. Mary Ungerboyd took on her case, took care of her for 2 years, and basically gave her life back. And she likes to say now the only thing she can't do is a couple of yoga poses. So
yeah, and I did get a side effect from all of that. I have exercise-induced migraines, so like on a weather day like today, if I went out and got really overheated or I kind of tried to work out too hard, I would have this raging migraine. But I'll tell you what, a migraine is much worse than walking with a walker and pulling my leg and not being able to enjoy life. So, you know, you take the good with the bad, and I think I had a lot of it.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about everything you need to know about knee pain. And usually in my practice, I joke that I try to stay away from pain topics, but they oftentimes are the reasons why you come into our office is that you have a neck pain, a back pain, a knee pain. And you know, we really are also going to spend some time talking about ways that you can keep your joints healthy so that we don't have to worry about that pain down the road. So I just quickly wanted to go through the room and ask everybody if you're comfortable doing it to share why you're here today. So, Marion, you want to start?
Sure. I'm a really active person, and I have lots of sometimes like moderate knee pain and then sharp knee pain from dancing. And then I teach dance, so a lot of times students will have knee pain. I would love to be able to understand what's going on more there and tell them to sit down or if they're able to do it or not.
Well, I've already had one knee replaced and working on getting the other one replaced because of no cartilage from different injuries and things like that, of being very active as well. I just thought I might learn something new that's going to help me handle knee pain. I'm always looking for that way because I can't take any drugs for my pain, so it's either grin and bear it or grin and bear it.
More just interested in how chiropractors can look at the lower extremity and see what's going on. I feel like it's fairly common knowledge that you guys work with the back, but to see where you come from as like on the standpoint of lower extremity things.
can everybody say their first name too? Also, this was Audrey and Mary.
I'm Cassie. I wanted to learn more about Dr. Crystal and just your practice in general, and then I am a personal trainer, so lots of my clients have either suffered from knee pain before or will in the future, so just being able to prevent that and have better answers for them. I always, kind of say want more answers for that.
I am interested more in techniques to avoid knee injury, knee pain. I'm very active, 71, and fortunately avoided knee pain pretty consistently over the years in spite of playing soccer and squash and things like that. And I'd like to try to keep things healthy.
And I'm Steve, and I'm just interested in different ideas on avoiding and treating knee pain. Not only, I haven't had severe knee pain, but I do ballroom dancing and started to work out more. So if there's anything preventative to do, and also, of course, you see on TV, there's all these things out there like the copper knee coverings and all that sort of thing. You know, are those helpful? Are those just quackery and things like that?
I'm Ken. I've been suffering from knee pain for like the last month, several sessions, she started doing adjustments on my knee, which have been miraculous. They really helped me. And I want to continue getting better.
And as you will see in a video, Ken is our model. So.
And
And Michelle is the photographer.
Video.
Video. Oh, that's right.
And Ken actually has worked in measure where the industry you've worked in for years,
I've been a server for way too many years.
which takes its toll. We see a lot of people in the restaurant industry because they're just constantly on their feet in country, you know.
I'm Jen. I hip pain, and now my knees start to hurt a little bit. So I wanted to just kind of get more of a impression of how that works, and then also as a massage therapist, looking just for information to get better answers.
Jen's a massage therapist in Indigo.
I'm John. I have sudden onset of knee pain about 6 weeks ago. Just almost slowly. Glad we seen that.
Awesome. Well, we're going to touch on a lot of things that you all have talked about today. And at the end, if there's anything that you had a question about that I didn't cover, feel free to either grab me or ask after when we ask for questions. I always find that we go through this great presentation and you have all these ideas and thoughts in your head, and then the presentation happens and we go, do you have any questions? And people go, no, I'm just ready to go home. So I wanted to know a little bit ahead of time. So what I had everybody do was write down, the first question is what brought you here today? And secondly is if you could just ask one question, either about knee pain or about chiropractic care, what would that one question be?
And this is Melanie that's just joined us.
Hi, Melanie, welcome. So what is knee pain? And what we're looking at is knee pain is pain around any part of the knee itself. So I know this is just a leg here, but you can see that the hip is connected to the knee bone, right? Oh, we all know that song. But what we see is that knee, what we're looking at is we have the patella, which is the little kneecap here. Does anybody know what this bone's called? We got the femur. What's this little one over here? The fibula. And then what's this one over here? And so you can see that correlation of how the hip, the leg, the femur bone, the tibia, and then it all goes into the ankle and then all of the foot bones. So what we see is that knee pain is anything that involves around this area right in here. So I showed just from this anatomy perspective, you have the femur and then you have some tendons, the patella, another tendon. Then you have these little tendons in here that kind of cross. You have some tendons and ligaments on the side. And then this is that lovely meniscus that we hear a lot of stories about. And so when we see that what we talk about with knee pain is knee pain often correlates to the area of where we're feeling that pain will give us a big indicator of what's going on. So pain in the front can be that you have something going on with the patella, chondromalacia. Patella is a thing that we talk about. Also like a bursitis. Whenever we have irritation on the sides of the leg here, we could be looking at any of the ligaments on the side, the medial collateral, the lateral collateral. It also could be some of that meniscus problem we oftentimes will feel on the sides. Whenever we look underneath the knee right here, it again can be one of those tendons in there, or we can see a lot in kids. There's a thing called Osgood-Schlatter's disease. And why that's so important in children if they're complaining about knee pain to get it looked at is that Osgood-Schlatter's is right where that bone is growing. It's that growth plate. So if they have a problem and it's right on that growth plate, it can limit their ability to grow properly. And so when we look at that, there's a lot of things that we can consider. And even on the back of the knee, we get a thing called a Baker's cyst, which sometimes will cause pain, but it necessarily, if it doesn't cause pain, doesn't usually have any problems other than people feel a bump behind their knee. So the first thing that we look at chiropractically is just where the location of the pain is, because we give it that general term knee pain, but really we're looking for very specific things going on. So knee pain has the potential to really limit your life in a big way. And the reason we talk about this is just like you saw that bumblebee move along on that screen, is that it impacts our ability to move. And when our ability to move is impacted, we just can't live life the way we want to. Whether you're looking at sitting down, getting up and walking around, just moving your leg in general can really be painful. And people are really afraid once that knee starts bothering them that they're going to be bedridden or they're going to be kind of a shut-in because they just can't go out and do stuff. And I experienced that this weekend when we went to the when we went to the baseball game in the park. And this little boy was talking to his grandfather, and he said, "Grandpa, can we take a walk around the field?" And his grandfather was a fit-looking guy, looked really healthy, and he just goes, "No, buddy, I'm sorry, I can't." And you could see that he was really sad about it. And the grandson goes, "Why?" And he goes, "Man, it's my knee. It's really been bothering me. I'm not sure that I can make it around the field." So even just an act of simple as just taking a walk can really be something that you're not able to do. So what we're going to cover today is we're going to look at how does knee pain start, steps that you can take to help prevent it, what can we do if we have knee pain, and what alternative options are there. Would you mind shutting that door for me? So how does knee pain start? The first thing that we see is knee pain usually starts with some sort of trauma to the knee, but it doesn't always have to. You can have an osteoarthritis or rheumatoid arthritis or gouty arthritis that isn't because of trauma, but usually the most common thing we see is trauma happening. And so that trauma can be a severe trauma or it can be a minimal trauma. And what I mean by that is like a severe trauma would be an athlete. They're out running and a football player hits you in the side of the knee and your knee goes out. That's a severe trauma. But a minimal trauma could be every time you get home from work, your dog's so happy to see you that they slide on the ground, on the floor, and they bam, hit into your leg. And then over and over again that happens and we lead to a problem. We can also just have the injury like I had talked about. Maybe you step down off of a curb and your leg kind of goes out. We have an injury like that. Repetitive stressors are also important. So if you have a job where you have to stand a lot and you find that you're kind of turning your legs or you have to go up and down a lot, that can really put stress on those knees. It could also be a foot, ankle, or hip problem. So a perfect example I have of this is we have a triathlete in our practice that he says every year he makes it about halfway through the triathlon season, he has to stop. He's in so much pain, his knees bother him, it starts to bother into his hip, it causes low back problems. And when we really investigated it, what we came down to is the fact that he had a plantar wart on the bottom of his foot. So what he was doing is he was altering the position of his foot, and that was causing stress through the knee, through these joints, up into the hip. And so what I tell people is that, chiropractically, when we're looking at the body, we want all of these joints to be properly aligned. And so when he altered that foot, he was putting a weird stress, and that was causing rotation in the bones, causing stress on there, and leading to him ultimately not being able to participate in the activities that he wanted to. We also look at a thing called a leg deficiency, and what I tell people is that's like if you kicked off your shoe and you stood with one shoe on and one shoe off. And you can see how just by having one leg longer than the other, that's going to put stress on my hips, my knees, my ankles, and all of that. So those are all things that we also want to evaluate with that knee pain. So steps to preventing knee pain. The first step that I have is do not skip exercise. A lot of people think, oh, my knee hurts, I should just not exercise. And that's not true. Exercise builds muscle and it helps to support the knee. But the biggest thing that I learned when I had my injury is it also helps you keep weight off. And the more weight we put on the body, the more stress we put on those extremities. We also know that strength training should focus on your quadriceps and your hamstrings because those are the two muscle groups that support around that knee the most. Non-impact aerobic exercises are great. That's things like walking, riding on a stationary bike, swimming. They're really good. They also recommend through the literature that you do an elliptical machine, but I don't know about you. Every time I get on an elliptical machine, somehow I'm going like this, and I go to stop, and my leg jars, and it kind of pushes me up. So if you're skilled enough to do the elliptical, go for it, but I just haven't found that works so well for me. The next step that we have is to make sure that you stretch. A well-conditioned, flexible body is less likely to develop problems. So when we look at these different stretches, I'm going to go through a couple of different ones, and we're going to just show you a couple of ways that you can do them. So the first one is just working on that quadricep. And the best way that you can do that is lay down on the ground. You can also do this on your bed. And you're going to bend one knee, keep the other leg flat, bring your toes up, and you're just going to bring that leg down, and you're just going to try and squish a pillow down towards the ground. There are other activities that you do. A trainer or somebody can help you with them. But I found that this is the least amount of stress for my patients, and pretty much everybody can do that activity. The next one I'm going to look at is a hamstring stretch. And that hamstring stretch is the same thing. If you're laying down on the ground, what you do is you're going to take your heels, dig them into the ground, and you're just going to pull those legs up towards you. Now, could you be talented enough that you put a little ankle weight on and you just kind of bring your leg up? Absolutely. But we, again, are making recommendations that everybody can do. We have the straight leg raise. And with the straight leg raise, what you're going to do is you're just going to lay down, bend the one knee, and you're just going to bring the other leg up. We have a bridge activity. And with bridging, what you're going to do is you're just going to put your ankles underneath your knees. You're going to lift your butt up off the ground. You're not using your arms to push down. And usually we want you to squeeze your knees together. We say like squeeze a pillow or a ball. And that's just going to help you to build some of that core strength that's needed to help keep those knees in line. We also have knee extension. And with that knee extension, what you're doing is you're bringing that leg up and then you're pulling your toes. And that's just going to give a little bit of an extra stretch. Now, if you have a meniscus problem, this one's actually really going to hurt your knee. So any of these things that I'm recommending, if it causes pain, you should not do that activity. Even in the case where you have no meniscus, that wouldn't feel very good either. And then we have the heel raises. And with the heel raises, you want to make sure that you're holding on to something supportive. You're just going to come up on your toes and then come on down. This requires a lot of balance. So if balance is a problem for you, you want to make sure you're standing next to something very structurally sound. And I think this is the last one. It's the butt kick. And essentially it's the same thing. You need good balance. You're going to stand on one leg and you're just going to bring that leg up. And if you want to, you can go ahead and put a weight around your ankle and do that one as well. So these are all pretty simple exercises that I think most people were able to do. Number 3 is lose weight. What we see right here is this minus 10 pounds. And what we know is that when we lose weight, we lessen the impact on our back, on our knees, on our hips, on our ankles. And what we found that for every 10 pounds of weight you lose, you can decrease your knee pain by 20%. So I tell my patients all the time, 5 pounds of reduction of weight will make a huge improvement in your body. So if you don't have weight to lose, you don't have to listen to this one, but that weight loss is a big one that really impacts our bodies. Wear proper shoes. Why we recommend wearing proper shoes is it reduces pressure by promoting proper leg alignment. So the things that I'm going to talk about is the Q angle in women, and the Q angle for women is an angle where our hips are wider than our knees. So if women stand with their legs real close together, they actually put stress onto their knees, and that's why a lot of women athletes have knee problems. And so there are certain shoes that are made by Merrill that have Q angle technology, and what they do is they help to better, actually I think I have a pair of them on today, but they help to better support your knees so that you don't have that stress placed on it because of your hips. We look at pronation and supination, and what we mean by pronation and supination is very simply, your foot should lay flat on the ground and you should have this nice arch right here. And pronation and supination is if your foot is going flat or if it's coming up real far. So supination is a super high arch, and pronation is where your foot flattens out. So you want to look with your shoes off, take a look at your foot, see if your feet are rolling in either of those ways. The good news is that with adjustments, we can actually help to improve that arch, because by getting the motion in that ankle and in the joints, we help to pull that arch back up, and we've actually seen people decrease the shoe size. They go from like a 9 to an 8 or something like that because they get that proper arch. But most of us had an arch whenever we first started, and over time, small injuries will decrease that arch in its perspective. Runners need to get fitted for their shoes. I can't stress this one enough. If you're an athlete and you're out there trying to run and you're just picking a pair of shoes off the shelf, you are doing a huge disservice to your knees, your ankles, and your hips. And why that's so important is that pronation and supination thing we just talked about. If you have flat feet and you get a shoe that is more for somebody with an arch, you're really going to alter the biomechanics of that foot, and it can lead to pain.
And I would add to that, there's 2 stores that we would recommend for that one. Big River Running, they do a really good job of providing options. They also have like inserts and orthotics, as well as just great shoes for all types of activity, whether you're walking, running. And then Lori's shoes, I've not been to personally, but we have several patients who are familiar with it, and I know they have some great
Well,
stuff.
we have the Good Feet store, and there's a lot of reputable places. If you want us to make some recommendations for you, just holler at us. We'll be happy to do so. High heels are only for special occasions, ladies. I know that we look great in them, our posture looks better, we love to wear them, but they really cause a lot of problems for our feet, our knees, and so on and so forth. What they do is they lift your heel up. They then tip your weight-bearing line forward. And because of that, your quadriceps have to work harder to hold your knee straight, and that can lead to knee pain. Not to mention the foot pain after wearing them for a really long time. So when we look at that, I mean, it's something that I know we're not going to get all women out of high heels, but if you only wear them for special occasions, that's a great deal. And I want to just show you, like, if you look at your posture whenever you're wearing with flat shoes versus what happens whenever you wear the high heel, it's very impactful when you see it from that component. Even just looking at the way the foot is, all the pressure goes on to the toes versus being more balanced through the rest of the foot. And even this one isn't a flat. This is just a moderate heel there. So.
And I actually hardly ever wear heels, but I wore a fairly sensible pair, no stilettos, for demonstration purposes.
All right, so the next one is the stand straight, and why that's so important is that we're working with proper core muscles so that our body is upright. And so when you're off center, your body will be forced to compensate. And so activities like planks are really good for us to do. And do you all know what a plank is? A plank is whenever, well, let's have you demonstrate.
Kathy, you demonstrate a plank.
Kathy can demonstrate a perfect plank for us.
Can people see me?
If you come over here, I bet.
Okay.
You guys see if she's right here?
Okay.
Okay.
So elbows right under the shoulders, and then one straight all the way from the head down to the heels. And then to make it easier, you can come down on your knees, but you still want to keep a straight line from your shoulders all the way down to where your knees hit the ground.
And then the only recommendation I would have is that you can see how this comes up just a little bit. A little better plank is when that comes down like this. And that's just really, you can come on up, enforcing all of that proper musculature, the abdomen, the low back, the quadriceps, the hamstrings. They're really hard to do. So I recommend if you're going to start doing them that you actually do the knee ones. And if you have shoulder issues or anything like that, that's the best way to do them. You can still get a good workout doing them even if you're not as perfect as she was. Also, we have back extensions, and I knew this would be hard to demonstrate, so I put that one on there. But you can lay down on the ground and just kind of extend your back backwards, or you can lay on a Swiss ball and just kind of do it where you're coming back like this. I never recommend that you put your hands behind your head because then you end up pulling on the neck and you can strain that. Even if you're doing sit-ups, I recommend that you just cup your hands over your ears.
And if the Swiss ball rolls unexpectedly, you can catch yourself.
We also recommend yoga and Pilates just because they're working with all those core muscles, and that's going to make it easier for you to stand up correctly. A lot of my patients say, Doc, my posture's terrible, I just don't know what to do, and then they start getting adjusted, and because we're working with all those little muscles in the spine, we start to see their posture improve over time. And so it's hard to have good posture if you're not getting adjusted because you're not innervating all those little nerves and getting them to work the way they're supposed to, which then will improve that posture and that support for the body. What can I do for my knee pain? So this is if you're actually experiencing current knee pain. I always recommend the RICE mnemonic. And so does anybody know what RICE stands for?
Rest, ice, compression, and elevation.
You got it, absolutely. So rest or limit your activity. Ice to reduce inflammation. Compression would be like a little ace bandage or the little Tommy Copper thing or and what's a neoprene sleeve. And then elevation, and why we elevate is to reduce inflammation out of that joint. We also want you to make sure you stretch. We already talked about that, working with your hamstrings and your quads. You want to get a good amount of sleep. You want to have your feet and your shoes both checked. And so when I look at the ice to reduce inflammation, there's two things that we need to talk about. First of all is the time frame that we ice. Who knows how long we should ice when we're doing that? 15 to 20 minutes. Anything over 20 minutes, you might as well stuff a heating pad on it. Now, here's what's interesting. Heat will make you feel better, but it will cause more problems because there's all kinds of inflammation going into that area. So if we're trying to reduce inflammation, we want to ice for 15, no more than 20 minutes. The method that I recommend for knee pain is that I want you to take a paper cup and I want you to fill it almost all the way to the top with water and I want you to put it in the freezer. I usually recommend that you do 2 of them because then you'll have them when you need them. Then once it's frozen, what you're going to do is you're going to rip the paper and you're going to open it up like this. And what you will have is a little piece of ice sticking out over the top. You're going to take that ice, you're going to put it on your knee, and you're going to do nice little circles over the knee, specifically the area that hurts the most. Why I recommend it that way is number one, it's going straight to where we need it. Number two, you're getting a slight little massage. But the warning that I have with it is that ice melts when you put it on warm skin. So you want to put a little towel or something underneath your knee so you don't get everything drenched. What's nice about this is once you use it, you put it back in the freezer, you can keep tearing and use it down until you get a nub. But once it starts falling out, I recommend that you just get a new one. So the reason I tell you to do two is you're going to forget until you're at the nub, and then you're going to need the ice in an hour, and you're going to be like, oh, the ice isn't frozen. So that's why I recommend that you do two of them. The next thing that we're going to talk about is avoiding certain activities. Those activities include running on hard surfaces, also going uphill and downhill. You may also want to avoid doing some really strenuous stairs and stuff like that. Jumping up and down, we hear all that plyometric stuff where we have you jumping and go, that can be really hard on the knees.
Kind of stuff.
It's not that you can't do that, but think about it. If we can we not get a really good workout if we go fast with less? I mean, that's what the step phenomenon was for a long time. So looking at that and trying to not cause too much additional stress. And also, bicycling is really hard if your seat's too low. You're putting a lot of stress on the knee, but also if the seat's too high, then you're stretching that knee out and you're jamming that cartilage like we talked about. Stretch before activities, you're going to work on those major leg groups, hamstrings, quadriceps, calves, and your glute muscles. We want you to limit your activities, give your body more of a chance to heal completely. That's the biggest thing that we have happen with us is that we start to heal, we feel better, we go and do something, and what have we just done? We re-irritated, and that re-irritation often will cause problems.
I've heard several workout type people say that it's not good to do static stretching before exercise because you're stretching your muscles out and making them more vulnerable to injury. What do you have to?
Well, first of all, a lot of people will tell you that stretching has no benefit, and that's absolutely not true. But what I found is you want to do a short little warm-up, maybe 3 to 5 minutes of some activity, and then stretch. You're right. If you're stretching on cold muscles, you're taking a muscle that isn't warmed up,
I think that's what
and you're stretching it to the point that you could get by a 3 to 5 minute little quick brisk walk or even a slower walk, just that you're getting those muscles warmed up. We want you to limit any painful motions. So like I said, if you go like this and it hurts, don't do that. It makes sense, but we kind of always don't listen to that. And you may need to reduce all of your activity together. Now, when I say that, it might be all of a specific activity. So if you really like to ride your bike and your bike riding is what's causing the pain, then I'm sorry, you actually got to go on a walk now. So wait until that knee heals so that you can get through that injury and then get back to bike riding. I want you to facilitate healing while you sleep. Did you know that your body heals itself while you sleep? The coolest thing about that is that if you go to sleep and sleep a really solid duration of time, your body can restore itself back to its prior state of health from the night before. That's pretty awesome. But if you deprive your body of proper sleep, it's going to be harder for you to heal. Your body's going to be more inflamed. You're going to be more aggravated. Think about if you didn't sleep for 2 days. How well would you interact in your surroundings? I know my staff wants me to sleep plenty because I get really cranky when I
Dr.
don't sleep.
Crystal with no sleep is like me with no food.
But that same thing is what happens is that when you're depleting your body of that ability to rest, you're also reducing your healing time. So it's very important when you're sick or when you're injured to get plenty of sleep. We want you to check out your feet. Remember we had talked about flat foot versus inversion and eversion? One of the things I want you to know is that you actually might need an orthotic. And so when we look at the orthotics, you have some of the general orthotics out there, but these are my orthotics that I wear. These shoes are really cute, but they are not supportive at all. And so what I found is that with a little bit of an orthotic, I can have the normal arch that I'm supposed to have. I have really good high arches. And you can see just how that really is very supportive for my foot. It's kind of firm, so it doesn't cause too much stress, but it also allows for movement in the toes. So we can make some recommendations for some orthotics that are custom made, or we also have recommendations for just a general, I want to try it out, $20 to $50 range as well. The next thing we're going to talk about is check out your shoes. And when we look at that again, it's dealing with the inversion and eversion thing that we talked about. So I had said and mentioned that some running shoes, if you have a flat foot, you might need those versus ones with a bigger arch. But what I mostly tell you to look at is what is your wear pattern on your shoes. Whenever you look at your soles, are you seeing that your shoe is wearing up here? Is your shoe wearing funny on the back here? Do you have it kind of wearing on the outside? What we find is the most normal wear pattern is the outside right here starts to wear first. But again, it should be wearing in an even tread. You should see it equally on both sides. So if your right foot's wearing more than your left, we have a problem. If you're wearing more in the center or more on the inside, we're having a different problem. The only big thing that I have, when that's why I say old shoes versus new shoes, that I really want you to take home from this today, is that if this part of your shoe is so worn out that it's wearing into this part of your shoe, it's time for new shoes. There is no repairing that at that point. You can't take it to the cobbler. Once your shoe is worn up in here, it's time for new shoes. I'm sorry. So get to the cobbler before that point. What alternative options are out there? We have topical treatments, different types of supplements, homeopathy, massage, acupuncture, chiropractic. I'm sure there's 100 other things I could have listed on there, but these are the big ones that I wanted to talk about. Should I use a topical ointment for my knee pain? Again, it kind of depends on what your knee pain is. So some of them that we look at is this topical called Arnica. They have it in a gel. They have it in a cream. They also have it in an oral. And it's a homeopathy type of item. And what's really cool about it is it actually reduces pain. It's a natural pain reliever. So you can take that and you can put it on a bruise, you can put it on pain, and it will help to make you feel a little bit better. Capsaicin, what it is it's actually like chili peppers that are ground up. So if you ever put one of those like the icy hot things or things that warm it up, like a Tiger Balm, those types of things, they have that heat in them. And so that will help to warm up the area. And then the menthol kind of helps to cool it down a little bit. So any variety of those things you'll see with the icy hots and stuff like that.
And we gave you some samples of BioFreeze today. That's
Yeah,
a menthol-based product. It's not necessarily our favorite, but you know, it's a good option.
And a lot of people swear by BioFreeze. They've tried all kinds of other ones, and they say that BioFreeze is the only one that works for them. So it's a really good product, and I highly recommend it. We also have the, should I take supplements for my knee pain? I think that's the question everybody wants to know. Can I just take something that will make everything go away, right? And so when we look at it, the most commonly used things are glucosamine, and it helps to rebuild bone, prevent cartilage wear and tear. Now, here's the kicker on this. Look, prevent cartilage wear and tear. So if you're taking the glucosamine after, you're already needing something else to help support. We have the chondroitin, and it helps to build cartilage, and it prevents joint pain. So when we look at that, that's why you hear that story of glucosamine and chondroitin tied together. Calcium also will support your bone, and it has anti-inflammatory processes. And the MSM is a cartilage support and an anti-inflammatory. But what I found is that there's so many of these things out here that I don't recommend that you go to Schnucks or Deerbergs or Walmart or even Target and get these things, because we don't really know the true quality of what that product is. So if you're interested in knowing some of these supplements that we would recommend and what companies we would recommend them for, again, contact us. We'll be happy to help you with that. But what we use in our office is a supplement called Standard Process, and they have a couple of different supports for joints. The first one is a Ligaplex, and it helps with acute ligament and muscle support. The second one is Ligaplex 2, and it helps with chronic musculoskeletal support. And then the third one is this glucosamine synergy, and why we recommend that is it has glucosamine in it, it has boswellia, which helps reduce pain, and then it has a flaxseed oil, which contains fatty acids to promote bone growth and restoration. So those are the three that we recommend the most in our practice. Chiropractic adjustments have been proven to be beneficial for knee pain, and chiropractic offers treatments that can help give patients part, if not all, of the mobility in their knees back. However, it depends on what your diagnosis is. So those treatments that we get, they help to decrease pain levels, and the coolest thing about decreasing those pain levels is you can do it without medication, you do it with minimal pain or no pain at all, and also it's without any addictive risks. And what I mean by that is that you don't get addicted to painkillers, you don't have that whole type of thing that we have to worry about. Chiropractic adjustments are beneficial, and actually our research shows some of it. And there were two research studies that I just want to talk about real quickly. One was out of Virginia, Commonwealth University, and one was out of Australia. It was just a group of chiropractors that got together. But mostly what we said is at Virginia Commonwealth University, researchers and their team surveyed 1,121 adults over the age of 65 who had knee arthritis and also joint pain. And they followed them up with how many of them were doing chiropractic over 4 years. and 1/3 of the patients had been getting chiropractic care, and those who used chiropractic care and massage therapy were the ones who had better knee function than those that did not. So I think that's an important thing, knowing that we compare a couple of these things together and improve that overall function. The Australia study said that chiropractors proved that it didn't take long for patients who were between the ages of 47 and 70 years old with chronic knee pain from arthritis to feel better after getting adjusted. It said those who received chiropractic knee treatments had significantly less pain, they were significantly greater in having knee mobility, and they were better able to perform general activities of daily living. And the coolest thing was that there were no side effects from these treatments. Now, of course, there isn't some huge double-blind placebo study that shows this stuff through chiropractic, and I wish that there was, but chiropractic is moving forward in those directions. We have some studies in things like earaches and neck pain and stuff like that, but again, it's hard for people to understand why a chiropractor would be adjusting an extremity because we focus mostly on neck and back pain, but we're slowly moving in that direction. Does knee surgery mean that I can't have chiropractic care on my knee? Audrey? No, right? Chiropractic care is really important following knee surgery because some of the things that we might have going on after is we still might have alignment issues. Although the doctor does a really good job of getting in there, we might find that whenever he puts that prosthesis in there or some other thing, it's slightly tilted or twisted, or even that they didn't correct the problem, they just took the pain away. We have some mobility issues usually after surgery. We have scar tissue that builds up, and also we have lymphatic challenges. So between chiropractic and massage and some other techniques, we can really start to get that mobility back in the knee. So full restoration of motion and decreased knee pain is possible with chiropractic and massage and some of those other alternatives. So what is the advantage of coming into our office versus going to another office? Well, the biggest thing is that our technology that we look at, it has an EMG scanner. And the EMG scanner tells us a lot about how the muscle tension is pulling from side to side. And one of the easy things that we are able to identify is if we have a problem on one side of our body. So all these muscles right here are pulling on that right side of that person's body. Now, does that mean that person has a right knee problem? Well, it could be the left knee that's the problem, and they're just compensating with more pressure on that right-hand side. But it gives us the opportunity to look ahead and see. Also, there can be that phenomenon we talked about where there's a short leg, and sometimes just a 3-millimeter little heel lift that we stick underneath your shoe, or in your shoe, will clear up that muscle tension very easily and reduce the opportunity for knee pain to be present. We also do some extremity adjustments. I have been training through a company called Chiropractic Hand and Foot of America, and I am one of their ambassadors that has been significantly trained on ankles, wrists, knees, shoulders, hips, the whole 9 yards. So not all chiropractors are equal in that. Some chiropractors don't do any extremity adjustments. So I have a little video here. I don't know if it'll play, but I wanted to show you how minimally invasive our adjustments are. And Ken could be able to tell you how it hurts for just a little bit, but the improvement in that function is pretty great. So we'll see if this ends up playing. Wish me luck. So right there, I'm just looking at the meniscus, and right there's the spot where he's feeling that irritation. And you can see he kind of jumps out of it.
So then we'll just bring
So
it
what I'm
right
going to do is I'm
down.
going to take
Like
his
this was
leg and I
before.
actually put it in
And
between
then
my
you
legs.
grab onto
And what I'm
your
doing
leg
is
with
pull
my
on a little
legs.
bit of traction
I'm
on
gonna
the
take
knee,
this
and
spot
then I'm
right
going to
here.
take that meniscus with this thumb right here, and whenever I push, I'm going to kind of push that meniscus back into place. And you can see right there, that meniscus kind of slid back.
You okay?
And we go back and we check it, and we see, and he had a reduction of pain.
It just took the pressure immediately away.
And he had a lot of swelling in that area as well. So it's not as scary or as invasive as you would assume that it could be with chiropractic care. So, say goodbye to your knee pain and schedule an appointment with us today. If you're already not getting adjusted, we'd love to have you in our practice. If you are a patient that is getting adjusted, you can always remind me, hey doc, check this out on me today. Because you don't necessarily have to have pain for us to go ahead and look at those things, but I do think that it's important that we consider that those joints need to be assessed as well. So if I haven't done it in a while, you can give me a nice little nudge and say, hey doc, let's check that out today. So what questions do you have on your sheets? That second thing, remember, did I not cover that you'd like the answer for today?
What's your
favorite part about being a chiropractor?
Oh man, my favorite thing about being a chiropractor is giving people hope. I think that for me, having major back surgery, 21 years old, walking with, when I moved to St. Louis, I had a walker. I drug my leg like this when I walked. I couldn't go to a movie, I couldn't sit. Poor April would go to a movie and I would sit there for like 3 or 5 minutes and I'd be like, oh gosh. And I'd get up and I'd go walk in the back and I'd drag my leg and then I'd get tired of doing that and I'd lay down on the ground. And I wouldn't even watch the movie. So my medical doctor said, there's nothing I can do for you. And I thought, well, great, I'm 21 years old, I have the rest of my life ahead of me and there's nothing more you can do for me. So it's giving hope. My favorite clients to adjust are babies and children because they don't have in their brain that little thing going, this isn't gonna help, I don't know, blah, 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 blah. Whatever story we tell ourselves, right? And so these kids, they get adjusted and they are excited to hop on the table. They fight over who's gonna go first. Like, we have to have a whole system in our office when we have multiple families. Like,
You get adjusted first, but you get the gummies first and you get the stickers first.
And it's just really awesome because we see them get up on a table, we see them get adjusted, and they respond so much quicker than you and I do because we've had all these years of trauma and stress and repetition and injury and so on and so forth to work through. Kids, most of the time, because they're so new, they don't have a lot of that, and they respond real quick to care. So.
How do you choose which method you're going to use to do that adjustment? You know, I mean, because there's lots of different ways to do an adjustment on a joint.
It again depends on each person and what we're adjusting. So for somebody that maybe has osteoporosis and we're worried about hips and fractures and different things like that, we might use a device, the activator that we do the little assisted adjusting versus more of a manual adjustment. We also can use the drop table, which that drop table takes the force of the impact from that. But again, it just depends on the state of health of the client, but also what stressors we're dealing with. So we also do kinesio taping, we can do other kinds of things to help support, in addition to some of the stuff that I talked about that will last throughout until your next visit. So usually we can hold on to that adjustment a little bit longer by using some of those assisted devices as well.
Well, I've heard good things about acupuncture.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not only treating knee pain, but a whole bunch of other stuff.
Right. And so is there a question wrapped in that?
Well, I mean, what's your opinion of that? Have you used acupuncture?
Absolutely.
Some of your patients had benefits from that?
Yeah, when I fractured my foot, I knew there was going to be a long healing process for me because I stand on my feet all day and I'm always moving. And so I got acupuncture and massage and chiropractic. I did acupuncture once a week, I did chiropractic 3 times a week, and I did massage twice a week sometimes. And so what I had to do is make sure that all that swelling didn't get stuck down in my foot because then it was going to start leading to knee problems. And even the distraction of that cast did cause my knee to have some irritation over time. And so I highly recommend all of those alternatives. And so you had stated the statement about, you know, is the copper thing or are these braces or whatever, are they beneficial? You know what I've learned? Almost anything paired with something else is extremely beneficial. The biggest thing that I've learned is when you do just one thing, it doesn't work as effectively. So if you're gonna just say, oh, I'm just gonna get massage, you're gonna have some improvement. But if you paired massage and acupuncture, or acupuncture and chiropractic, or massage and chiropractic together, and heck, if you put the trifecta of those 3 things together, man, your healing just spikes so much faster. And so it's something about all of the energies that synergistically work together with those things that lead to that faster healing time. That makes sense?
Yeah.
All right, I think that's all I have. Thank you all very much, and I'm gonna let these guys talk.